Hey there, welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm Brent Kuykendall, president of GulfCoast Financial Services in Lake City, Florida. And today I wanted to do something just a little bit different, but I really feel much needed and relevant, and that's to talk about real estate, and especially some of the problems and misconceptions people run into when they're trying to buy or sell a piece of property or a home. If you guys like this video, we would certainly appreciate a thumbs up or a follow, or even share it with someone that might be able to benefit from its content. And with me today is Madison Blakely, and Madison is a local real estate professional with Exit Realty here in the North Florida area. And Madison's been doing her own social media kind of blitz, and she had me over for coffee with a professional, and we got to talk about some things, and I thought it'd be really fun to bring her on Coffee Talk and let her share a little bit about her passions and her expertise. So Madison, great to have you today.
Thank you. And, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself and then how maybe you chose real estate as a career.
So I have lived in Lake City most of my life. I graduated in Columbia High School in 2016, and I went to the community college here. I got my AA because I really truly didn't know what my next step was going to be. I went throughout school to kind of go into the nursing program, but it just really wasn't in my heart to do so. So my mom was like, why don't you do real estate with me? My mom's been in the real estate business for 24 years now. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll give it a try. I took my real estate test and passed it, and I haven't looked back ever since and just kept going with it. So that's
awesome. And that's one thing that we really have in common is you and your mom have the opportunity to work together. And then I work with my father, who is the founder and CEO of our company. And then one of my sons, Blake, works here as well. So it's really kind of a neat thing to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you a few questions about real estate today. Sure. And, I know a lot of people have concerns and maybe some misconceptions, and we won't address all of those by any means, but we'll talk about some of them and maybe come up with some ideas and some things that can help people along the way. So just kind of give us an update on how the real estate market is in general, and then maybe locally here. I know not everybody that watches this will be in Lake City or the North Florida area, but what the real estate market is here. Is it a good time to buy, sell? What are we looking at?
Honestly, it's a good time to buy or sell anytime. It just depends on your situation. A lot of people, the big thing right now is interest rates, but in the 90s, interest rates were really high. Like my mom, she was telling me she bought a house at 9% interest, and she thought she was getting a great deal.
Right.
So, I think a lot of people look at interest rates and go, whoa, I don't know if I can do that. COVID kind of spoiled us to give us a low interest rate, but those were just really weird times. Like we can't look at that. That was not the normal.
Right. Absolutely.
A house average day on market right now is about 100 days. There was kind of like a slow point, but honestly, I think it's back at the regular spring market that it should be now. So,
right, right. So I know there are some myths that are out there, and I kind of sent you a list of questions, and I said, give me your top three maybe myths or misconceptions that people have that they might not truly understand the concept or what they're getting into when they're looking to buy or sell a home.
Sure. Okay. So VA loans. A lot of sellers get told, oh, don't do a VA loan. They're extremely hard. They're not extremely hard. There are a few extra things that you have to do with a VA loan, but we actually had an appraiser come into our office last week, and they told us that VA loans are actually easier to deal with than an FHA loan. Wow. So I just think there's a big stigma, and not a lot of people are educated on it, and that's okay, but I would love to educate people on VA loans because it is a passion of mine.
Absolutely.
And
what else?
Let's see. Another one is Zillow is a liar. Zillow. Okay, so everybody goes, oh well, Zillow told me my house was $350,000, and I'm like, okay, well, sorry to bust your bubble, but Zillow collects a bunch of data off the internet.
Right.
They don't actually see where your home is located. Like they don't look at the subdivision around it. So if you have all these beautiful homes, it's gonna make your house go up.
Sure.
Now, if you have not so beautiful homes around you, your house will go down to value. So, and also they don't see the inside of your home, what remodels you've done, what you haven't done.
It's kind of like Wikipedia, you can actually add to that online yourself.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't have to be somebody doing it for you.
The last one would be selling your house for sale by owner will save you money. That's not always the case. So when you're selling your house as a seller on your own, you're adding a lot of liability. You're going to be the one that has to do all the promotional marketing. And so when someone wants to see your home, they're calling you,
Yeah.
and you're making the appointments, and it gets to be a lot. And you also might leave money on the table by not pricing your house accurately.
Well, I know a lot of times when people look at doing something on their own, they're thinking they're, like you said, saving money. But in the end, there is a lot of pressure with that. There is a lot. It can be overwhelming.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And I know a lot of people that come into our office even will sit down and say, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. What I thought I could do it, but it becomes overwhelming for me.
There's a lot of complex situations that may arise during the transaction, and we're the ones that can help you negotiate through it, because something new happens every day. I'll learn something and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, but it can.
Right.
And you just want someone on your side that can help it go smoothly instead of it go terribly.
Well, I know, and even if I was doing it as a buyer or a seller, I know that you might not be the agent representing both parties, and so it's a lot easier for you as the professional to reach out to the other professional and talk to them versus me trying to get a hold of that real estate
100%.
agent and do that as well.
Yes, for sure.
So I know you talked about VA, and we're going to hit that in just a little more, but I know one of your passions also, when we were having coffee, you talked about first-time home buyers, and that's one of your passions as well. Why and what are the first steps that I need to consider if I'm a first-time home buyer?
So the biggest first step, in my opinion, now if you haven't already met with a real estate agent, the first thing you need to do is go to one of your local lenders in town. The lender is going to be the one that's going to tell you how much you can afford, and they'll be able to tell you your monthly mortgage. So now, if that payment's really comfortable with you, or you need to sit back and save a little bit of money, then you need to wait a little bit. But if you're completely ready and you got the money, then that's when you need to go to a trustworthy real estate agent. And then from there, that's when we start showing the homes, we write the offer. And once the offer is accepted, then there's a plethora of things to do, but it's a lot, but it's also really awesome at the same time. Yeah. So it's just step by step.
And involved with that pre-qualification, I mean, it really does matter our credit. And I know people don't, a lot of times when we're young, we don't think about what we need to do to make sure that our credit stays in good standing. But there are instances where credit is necessary, and it is a big plus in the real estate game.
So credit is very important. A lender can speak more on that, but one thing, your credit does not have to be the highest credit score ever.
Immaculate,
like you don't have to have an 850 credit score, but it needs to be the best that you can make it, honestly.
Now, let's go back to veterans. You mentioned veterans, and when you and I talked about this, I thought that was a great thing for you to have a passion for.
Yeah.
I know I have a son that's in the Navy now, and eventually he'll retire from that. But tell me how you work a little more with veterans and kind of delve just a little bit deeper into that.
So my mom kind of became a specialist years ago, and I've just watched her work with veterans. So I would say 85% of our clientele is veterans. I appreciate everything that they do. So it's one of those things that I can give back, and it's my way of saying thank you, helping them through the process.
Absolutely. And for all the veterans that might be watching, certainly thank you for your service and your time, and in many cases, sacrifice. So we appreciate that. So we've just talked a little bit, kind of brushed the surface of everything and talked a little bit about some different topics, but I'm going to give you just a minute here to address maybe something that's on your heart or something that you have a passion about that maybe we didn't discuss, some things that I might not have hit.
Don't be afraid to go and buy a house right now. I think a lot of people are afraid right now. They're just, honestly, like I said about the interest rates, everyone's really nervous. But when you get with some trustworthy people like a real estate agent and a lender that can really talk you through it, and also don't be discouraged if you can't buy a house right now. There's a lot of people still renting, and I think a lot of people say, oh, renting's a waste of money. No, it's not. Not right now. If you can't do it, you eventually will be able to, just put money back. But I think a lot of people just get discouraged because they look at people in their 30s and go, well, they have a house. Well, that's okay. Like,
I always say in these videos, everybody's situation is
100% different. Yeah.
And there's no way, even in the financial world, that we can cookie cutter something for someone, because what's good for you and your husband won't be good for the next person that comes and sits at the table.
And I think we get caught up in a bunch of like worldly things because we're like, oh, they all have materialistic objects. No, but if you want to buy a house soon, just focus on that being your main goal, putting away the money, talking to a lender, and if it doesn't happen this year, let's make it happen next year. You know, so.
Just want to thank you. I mean, for coming today. We had a great time over coffee talking, and just today as well for her coming and being a part of this video. Our information's on the screen, Gulf Coast Financial Services, and if you have any questions about anything that we discuss in these videos, or you have a comment, or you want to talk about anything, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us through that. Madison's information will be on the screen as well, and if you have a real estate question or want some information on that, then you can certainly contact her at Exit Realty. Her or her mom, I'm sure, would be happy to help you in any way that they can. Again, if you like these videos, we would certainly appreciate a like, a follow, and a share. It helps us to continue to produce videos like this and put the content out there for you. I want to thank you again for joining us today, and I want to thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on Coffee Talk.